Today, we're talking the Living Building Challenge Red List Chemicals and why you should care when building or remodeling your home. I'm Dave Edwards with Earthbound Homes.
And I'm Catherine Emerson with Earthbound Homes for 36 more hours.
So Catherine, we've talked about the Living Building Challenge and the Red List Chemicals before in these videos. Tell us a little bit about what you've learned over the last couple months working here and why we should care about the Red List.
Well, in my past few months, I've learned that a great majority of building products contain these Red List compounds, and it's kind of scary.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me why it's scary. Like what are the Red List chemicals?
Well, the chemicals are 20 chemical groups that have really terrible human health and environmental health impacts, from carcinogens to
anything in between, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. And where do these chemicals come from? Yeah, so like, are these man-made chemicals? Are they naturally occurring chemicals? I mean, are we talking things like lead and asbestos? Or are we talking things that humans have made and put into building products to achieve some kind of purpose?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is your, like, when you went to start this project, and you're, just so everybody knows, you're an intern with Earthbound Homes, and you go to Smith College and you're studying environmental science there. And we really brought you in to help us achieve what within our organization?
Right. So I've been reviewing all of the building materials that you guys use in the company, and as project facilitators specify products for your projects.
Okay.
I go through and I check the SDSs, the safety data sheets, and then I can contact the manufacturers to ask them to make sure that these chemicals, these Red List chemicals, aren't in these products.
Okay. So I think you're underbuilding what you've actually done. So in your process here, you've not just gone through the SDSs. The manufacturer safety data sheet is what they used to be called, or MSDS. Now they're called safety data sheets. You've actually built a tool specifically to investigate, and we're going to actually talk about that tool in other videos. But you built a tool to be able to easily go through any chemical and on an SDS, or not all the chemicals that you find are actually on the SDSs,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But you've actually built this tool to go through it and use the CAS number, which is called the Chemical Abstract Society number, and that will then search this 11,000 items,
Right.
and it'll bring it up as if it's a Red List chemical, then it'll bring it up as red, right? Like, tell me a little bit about the development of that tool, and how you came upon that method, and how we're going to use that, and we're making this publicly available, how everybody else is going to be able to use this tool.
Right. Well, the manufacturers that I contacted, they often said, well, that's 11,000 chemicals too many for us to check. And so
Awesome.
they said, we don't have the manpower, we don't have the staffing to review 11,000 chemicals against our products. And I was saying, well, you have your chemicals within your products. Just make, search through Command F to see if those chemicals are in the products. And they were like, they grumble about it. And so this tool makes it easy for them or us or subcontractors or anyone, project facilitators, to put in their CAS numbers, and it'll automatically say, this is not on the Red List, or this is chromium-6, don't use this product.
Right.
Right.
And we did a previous video about chromium-6, also called hexavalent chromium, on galvanized sheet metal, and that was really Catherine's first find, and honestly, it blew my mind. It was something I never expected, and it has totally transformed how we do business. And I think, we've had multiple stories now since you started this project about building materials that we've used in the past that have been flagged as red list chemicals,
Right.
and we use them, or we used to use them all the time, and some of them there's no alternatives, right? Like there's some glues that we use or epoxies that we use to hold down anchor bolts and hold down bolts in concrete that are specified by engineers and the manufacturers that using this epoxy, and it's got tons of red list chemicals in it. We're really not sure how to get rid of those chemicals when we have to use that. So that's something that we're researching now. But you have a story about an architect that we work with who's a very, very deep green architect who has been building unbelievably green structures, very, very low embodied carbon, beautiful structures. And you found something out about one of the materials he's used, or they've used, I should say, in a lot of their projects. And tell us a little bit about that.
Right. Well, the roofing product was from the manufacturer they specified, comes coated in, well, so it's a zinc aluminum sheet metal, corrugated sheet metal, and the manufacturer they get it from, they coat it in coating that has strontium chromate in it,
Okay.
and it has other things, multiple red list chemicals in this.
Including PVF for polyvinyl fluoride. And you found out what about, so I think it's really important to understand that these chemicals, the reason that they're added to these materials is they have specific characteristics that give them that give the material, the final product, some characteristic, right? So what was the strontium chromate?
That was a pigment.
So it was just for color. Okay. And then we figured out that the polyvinyl fluoride was like a protectant, is like a plastic protectant on the material. And so what happened with that?
Well,
First of all, did the architect know this?
no.
They had no idea.
They don't look into the red list chemicals because this is a pretty rigorous.
Well, it used to be rigorous. With your tool, it's actually not so rigorous anymore.
Okay.
But yes, okay,
Yes.
got it.
So it's kind of a ton of work normally to go through these 11,000 chemicals and see if they're, because why would you think that you're coating on your zinc aluminum? You'd think that the zinc aluminum would be the issue, but it's not. The zinc aluminum that has that durability factor is not the issue. It's the coating that goes on top of that.
Mind blown, right? I mean, no, I mean, serious. Like, it's just amazing the materials that we use in these products in our houses are so toxic, and we either are using them with ignorance, willful ignorance, or unwillful ignorance. I think ours was a little bit of both. Honestly, like, we didn't think about ways to get rid of some of these chemicals. So you actually found, you and our team actually found another material.
Yeah.
That what?
Right. So the project facilitator or project manager produced an alternative zinc aluminum sheet metal, and so I contacted them and I wanted to ask them if they had any red list chemicals, but what they told me is they didn't have the manpower or whatever. But then I asked for more specifics, and he said, "Well, we're just the manufacturers. We don't actually make the product."
Oh.
And
okay.
I said, "Oh, huh. Okay, I thought that's what manufacturers were for." But
Me too.
they source this product from Steelscapes in California, and so both of these manufacturers got it from the same place, and so got the base zinc aluminum corrugated metal, or maybe uncorrugated,
Okay.
and then that's what he was saying. The manufacturers
Okay.
do.
Yep.
And so this base metal doesn't have the issue, it's just the coating on top. And so if you source it from this other place that doesn't put the coating on.
So what was the response from the architect when you told them about this?
Right. Well, the architect said, "Oh, wow, well, we didn't know that. Let's go swap the..."
Different sources.
Right.
And they actually told us. So Catherine's under selling her what her reaction was from this architect. So the architect was incredibly thankful and said that they were going to switch the sources for every project that they do from now on that uses this material. So like you, through that one, I say small because it's small in the scope of what you've actually done. With that small one effort, you've dramatically changed the entire trajectory of that material in that architect's projects. And that architect makes many, many projects. Dramatically reducing the amount of toxic chemicals get used and get put onto houses. And I think that's the most important thing about this whole process is that it's about research and it's about developing tools to make sure that other people aren't inhibited from doing this research. And we're going to talk
easier for them.
Right. And we're going to talk about how we use this tool, which will be on our website, Earthbound Homes, earthboundhome.com, for use for everybody. And Catherine's developed it so that it's super easy to use. And we're going to talk a little bit more in the next video about your experience communicating with all of these companies and what some companies were super forthcoming and some weren't. So if you're interested in knowing more about building science, about healthy buildings, or about building a better way, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.